Hello YouTube, I am Musty Hobbit and I would like to welcome you as I launch a new series on my channel that I am dubbing Musty's Quest, the search for the top 100 Nintendo and Super Nintendo games. Now my history with Nintendo is unique. I was a child of the 80s, I acquired my first NES for Christmas in 1989, but we were a family that was very much into the trading up. I was always a trade-in and trade-up sort of kid, so I never really amassed any sort of game collection when I was young. In fact, when I traded in my NES, I actually traded it in for a Genesis. I had neighbors who had a Super Nintendo, and that was part of my justification for not going the Super Nintendo route, which I will not say that I regret, but I really feel like I missed a lot of game genres and that sort of thing. I'm big into RPGs, and I really think that I missed the boat on those a little bit, and I hope to fix that. So my goal here with this is to collect the top 100 Super Nintendo and Nintendo games as deemed by IGN, who puts out a list a few years ago that had these games highlighted. I have not played all of these games. Some of these are new to me, and that's part of the reason why I took on this list, is that it's not just the games that I am familiar with and that I have fondness for, but there are some unique ones that I have not yet played. And so I would like to highlight, I have 10 games in total today, 6 for Super Nintendo and 4 for the Nintendo Entertainment System, to sort of let you know what I hope this new series, where this sort of goes. So to start off with the Super Nintendo, going into today I had 44 of the top 100 Super Nintendo games, and I plan to do a collection highlight video to sort of show you what those 44 are, because there are some pretty decent games in there. But there are some significant ones that I have not yet acquired, or in some cases have not even seen before in my life. Now, one of the games actually is Super Mario Kart, and this is actually a label upgrade for me. I had a copy, but the label was a little bit different. This is a Player's Choice Edition. It still plays wonderfully. Absolutely love Mario Kart. So that was a replacement, still at 44 at this point. Now I do a fair amount of Goodwill drop-ins from time to time. I have one that's on my way to work, and just so happened that I came across a game that was on the list. Did not expect to find it in a Goodwill, and it's one of the few sports games on the system. It is Madden 94. The box art for this actually touts the fact that you could flip the play, which is something that prior to 94 was not possible, and this is claimed to be the best of the Madden series, at least during the cartridge era. So that's 45. I then had a trade with a fellow member of the Iowa Retro Gamer Nation, who goes by Tim. He actually was the one who helped me out with the Mario Kart upgrade. But he had a couple fighting games that I was looking for, one of which that I had previously had, and that was Killer Instinct. Here, and also Street Fighter 2 Turbo. I am not great at fighting games. I usually don't have a lot of couch co-op going on, but hopefully with having nicer games like this, we will have more opportunities for those type of shenanigans. So that brings us to 46 and 47. The last two Super Nintendo games came in a trade with Michael, who is also from the Iowa Retro Gamer Nation. He has done a lot of good trades with me. I know he is collecting actively for GameCube, and I happen to have a couple things that I was willing to send his way. But he had a couple games that I was interested in. One of them being Earthworm Jim, which is a pretty unique platformer. I have not really had a chance beyond testing this to really dive into it, so I'm looking forward to getting to know Earthworm Jim. And that's 48. And then this last one here is an RPG for the system, and this is Illusion of Gaia. And this one actually looks like from the back it came from a video connection and has a phone number, which I'll cover up. So this at some point was, I assume, a rental copy. I have never played Illusion of Gaia. I have heard that just from seeing some of the posts in the group that it is a challenging game, so I'm looking forward to really dive into this at some point, hopefully this year. So that brings me to 49. I am sitting at the cusp of the halfway point for the Super Nintendo collection, and I'm really kind of excited and kind of trying to figure out what number 50 is going to be. Again, there's a lot of big hitters on this list, and I'm really looking forward to figuring it out. And I might figure it out at Cedar Rapids Comic-Con, which is coming up in just a couple weeks. It is the first time that they'll be doing an organized event like this. They've done sort of vendor shows at sort of the indoor farmers market and that sort of thing, but this will be the first organized event where they actually have panels and speakers and a large vendor room. So I am very much looking forward to that. We'll see what number 50 is probably the next time that we have this video. So shifting gears, let's go to the NES. Now going into today, I had hit 76 of the 100 top 100 games. And I, again, will highlight the NES titles, which you can see just over here. I'll highlight those in a separate video just to kind of get you up to speed to where I'm at. I had sort of set the goal for myself to get into the 90s this year, so I would say January's already been pretty good for progress. I have 4 games to show off. A couple of these came in a purchase from Matt at Thunder Cards, so I'd like to give him a mention. He is great to work with and is really great with price. You know, even I'm not a huge. There are sometimes I'm not too big on worrying about the condition as long as it plays, and Matt's certainly willing to give me a bit of a break when it comes to those things. And I'll point one out in particular when we get there. But the first of the games that he helped me acquire is Kickle Cubicle, which is a puzzle game, and one that I have, again, only spent a few minutes in testing to make sure that it worked, but it is really kind of unique. It's sort of the, you freeze your enemies into blocks and then push them to sort of fill holes to get to the next area of that puzzle level while you're collecting little trinkets and things like that. So that's Kickle Cubicle, one that, again, I had never played before. This next one actually was a Christmas gift from my sister, so I would like to thank her very much for sending this. I was not really expecting it, and all of a sudden it showed up and I had to check to make sure it was her who sent it. But it is Adventure Island 2, and in really good shape. I like the Adventure Island series. I have never been too good at it. I hear that they are super long games and require a lot of memorization to avoid enemies and that sort of thing. But I am very much looking forward to embracing this game a little bit more. Hudson Soft had a lot of great titles on the NES, and a few that are on this list as well. The next game here came in a trade with Daniel, also from the Iowa Retro Gamer Nation. Not a trade, I purchased this off from him, and this is one of the few sports titles that are on the NES list, and that is Baseball Stars. One that I had not played, but probably one of the more advanced baseball games that's on the system. This one actually does have a battery backup, and I'm under the impression that it actually saves your batting average and pitching stats and things like that. If you do, you can even do seasons and things like that, which is something that really wasn't heard of for cartridge games. So I'm looking forward to getting into Baseball Stars. So that's 79. So today I hit number 80 with a goal of 90, and I have 11 months to go. So this also came from Matt at Thunder Cards, and this one is the highest rated game that I had left. This actually closed out both the top 10, or this closed out the top 25 for me. This was the last one I had left, and this was River City Ransom. You can see it's a little bit chewed on up here. Works just fine, and that is all I'm worried about. I never really played this game. It is one that I hear talked about, and I see games that emulate the beat 'em up gameplay. Scott Pilgrim vs. the World is the one that I can think of the most recently that takes this and just sort of modernizes it. So I'm very much looking forward to this, and I thank Matt for being really flexible with the price for me on this, because I have been looking for this one for a short while. So that is it. I am again at 49 on the Super Nintendo and 80 on the Nintendo, making really good progress. I want to sort of wrap things up here to hit on one other thing that's sort of been going on with me. Within the last week, I have now joined the Cartridge Club. And this is a group that sort of takes the book club approach and does a different video game every month. So this month, January 2016, the Cartridge Club is doing Crash Bandicoot 2. So I actually have a copy that is on its way right now. Hopefully it'll be here before the weekend so I can kind of dive and immerse myself in that. But I would like to just acknowledge the Cartridge Club and say thank you for the warm welcome. Round 2 Gaming, you have been kind of very attentive to tweets and things like that, and I appreciate the welcome that you guys. Also, Mr. and Mrs. Q-Dog and STC Pod, thank you guys. I know you guys in particular have been around watching my stuff since I was in the other room. And I enjoy listening to your guys' podcast, and I've now started to immerse myself in both the Cartridge Club podcasts and the Retro Fandango as well. So I look forward to being a part of that group. I hope that hopefully I can keep up with you guys when it comes to some of these games, because I have never played a Crash Bandicoot game before. So more to come there. I think that's about it for now. So I'm looking forward to continuing Musty's quest on the search for the top 100 Nintendo and Super Nintendo games. Thanks for coming by. If you do want to check out my other series, the Collection Chronicles, where I'm focused on collecting the entire US NTSC original Xbox library. So making some progress there. Have a pretty big grail coming for there. So look forward to that. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Like the video. Please leave me a comment. Any of these games that you've played before that you can give me some tips for, I certainly welcome it. So thank you again. Take care of yourself and be good to each other. I've been Musty. Bye.